Hi guys, got some pretty mind-blowing information in this video. I was really hyped up earlier on the day, but when I start thinking, well, I should put this in a video, but once you decide to put something in a video, you've got to, you know, cross your T's and dot your I's, and then you get a few things organised, and then the hypo level starts dropping down. Now I've got to force myself to get this video out. If I don't get it out now, I'm going to lose it. It's something that came to me when I was sitting on the ferry today, thinking as one does. And if you've been following my videos, you'll know I've been going on about frequencies. Everything is based on frequencies. If you can find the resonating frequencies, bingo. And so it all started off with meditation. So I was meditating in the vehicle there. You know, getting the sounds, using the vibrations. So I started thinking about the all the different cultures and the sounds they make, and their dances and ceremonies or whatever, and how the similarities between the Maori, Indian, Hindus or whatever, Muslims, the Aborigines, and the American Indians. All the sounds. You have to realise everything's about sound, frequencies. In the beginning was word, that's what it's about, frequencies. When they're talking them, we're just creating that vibrating sound within your system. And the idea, it's all associated with the human body, and as above, so below, so you've got all the resonating frequencies up here in the celestial bodies. And this is, I'll get into this later, but that's basically what you've got. You've got the firmament, the 7 layers, which make up the bright light at the top, which is the white light of the spectrum, known as the Christ. That's what the sun is. You've got the strings here, you could say, and what the moon does. The moon goes across them all every month, up and down, playing the strings as the harmonic oscillator or resonator. So let's just go through some sounds that are really good for the body, and I'll try and make some sounds and we can try and associate them to the cultures. So we'll start, whatever comes, I'll tell you what it is. So we go well, that obviously sounds like the Aboriginal didgeridoo, right? So they know about those vibrations. Then we've got well, that's obviously the Red Indian in America. Then we've got let's do the Maori in New Zealand. Well, it's similar to the American Red Indian, but I didn't quite get it right there. I didn't quite get it right, but it's along those lines. Then you have that's, if you go into a Muslim country, that's what you get on the old loudspeakers 3 times a day. And what have we got? We've got the Indians, you know, Buddhists in India now. I'm not quite getting it right, am I? But you got that, then you can think of Chinese. It's all to do with the vibration through the system. And the idea is to get it from your stomach up. So it comes up your backbone, right up and over this spot in here. This is what the ancient cultures had, why they have the snake represented up the back of their monument, on their, you know, statues and stuff. Comes up their back, comes into here. And this is what even the ancient Egyptians show, the snake tail hanging down the back of these, like Horus and all them. And then they have the Uriah up here, some bit coming into here. But that's enlightenment once you get it over here. So we'll get the vibration coming up to here, And it's all about this resonating frequency. This is the thing about all religious stories and what Jesus in the Bible is telling you. We're all capable of achieving this higher enlightenment. And it's getting the frequencies up and finding the resonating frequency to you. And it's all to do with your celestial conception and all that. It's all to do with your stars. So, and this is why it says in a lot of religions, it says it's easy to do, but it's also hard to find. It's easy, but only if you find it. Meaning, it's easy to sit there and do the frequencies, get the humming through your system. You know, we can all sit there and go, Om, and you go through the tones. If you want to know more about that, Santos will give you the information. But anyway, it's getting it up here. We can all do that, and you have to do it at least 15 times, and which is, I mean, in some religions they've mentioned 1,500 or 15,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. It actually all boils down to 15 times. Now, if you do it 3 times a day, you'll know. You'll know when it's coming from the stomach, coming up, and getting up to this part of the head. Now, if you do it for years, one day you might get lucky and hit the right resonating frequencies at the right time, the right time of the celestial spheres, because they're all going through their resonating frequencies as well, or their tones. It's all about, like music, it's all music. And so this is like the meaning to life. You've got to get this up there and wake this up. Wake the pineal gland up, get the right resonating frequency. Okay? And so I started thinking, well, this is how the moon moves across all the spheres, playing them like it's playing the string, strumming the guitar. And this is basically what the moon does. You know, the sun's up here, it'll come down. Can you see that? This is my newly found pulpit. I said to the wife, I need a pulpit to hold my Plato's dialogue. She goes, oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you? That's my light frame. So the moon spirals back up to the sun, into its face. They go in together into the face of the sun. New moon goes into the sun. And when it comes out, it spirals all the way down to full moon down here, on the opposite side to the sun. If the sun will be facing that way, we'll see the full moon at night on the back side of the sun. So then we go over here. Now the moon is coming into the face of the sun to be at new moon. So there's the sun. See the shape? Science have come up with this. They know they get this plasma on the edge of the black hole. It looks like that. This is what gives it an elliptic shape. These aren't doing an elliptic. Scientists just think they're doing elliptic shapes because this egg in here is turning. So if this egg is turning, it's going to make the planets look as though they're doing an elliptic as they go around. But no, it's the moving of the sun. They're trying to say that doesn't move. It does turn, that little bit, just like the North Star turns, and Sigma Octantis, the same thing. It's a night view of this. It turns that little bit, and it's quicker than all this. It moves quicker. It leaves this moon behind by 52 minutes a day. 52 minutes because the moon, also has to go this way as it does its winds down. So it's doing this cross circuit as well as going around. The sun only turns on its axis, well, not quite on its axis, because the axis is the black hole. So it turns around the black hole, the axis of the black hole. That's your 360 degree 24-hour day. So the sun's back here, it's looking back through this way. That's daylight. That's the sun we see out in the tropic region. Let me back up a bit, I've lost you already a little bit. All this is hidden in the central vortex, in the centre of Earth, right there. We don't see it. We're inside the donut. Form a complete sphere if you wanted to, but we're in here. This is Earth. We're in here. There's the 7 layers of the atmosphere up here. It all happens back in here. Unseen to man, because we don't see what's in here. It's not part of our physical realm. There's our realm. So it's all being reflected, projected into here. So you can imagine back in the centre, this is what it is doing. The Egyptians have left it all up to us with the pyramids. Pyramid de Djour, whatever. The Khufu, flat top, or actually the flat top represents the moon cycle, but, oh, there's the moon cycle, yeah, there you go. It's always been 138 metres, because 138 metres is a divine number. I've done videos on that. But anyway, so there's the sun, right? So I just wanted to show something here, and I drew the moons like this, and then got carried away doing all this other stuff. So these claws, lion claws, aren't like that out there. They'd be right in here close to the sun. Right out here it's full moon. But I've just drawn them there to show you the opposites, what they'd look like when they're phasing. So the moon here, new moon, it's nearly behind the sun. So this is the cold side. So this face is close to the sun. So that's why we don't see it. It dissolves. There's no earth shadowing BS. Forget that crap. So that's why we get the phasing that way. It's away from the sun. And then once it comes, this is close into new moon, then it comes out of new moon, the sun goes ahead of it, leaving this the back side of the moon. This is always the back side of the moon. The side, the skin we see is always the back side of the sun. The sun is raced ahead of it. It's close to the sun still here. As the sun gets further and further away, 52 minutes every day, this starts growing more skin, doesn't it? Just think about that. And then even in physics we know, science knows, there's a 2-to-1 ratio. I forget what it was about, I've done an earlier video way back. And this is what basically happens here. There's a 2-to-1 ratio between the sun and the moon. Basically the moon does 2 to the sun's 1. The sun is quicker, so it has to do that whole extra lap. It gets out in front of it, but it does a whole lap to catch up. Laps the moon to catch up to it again at the new moon, next new moon. That's how it goes. And then you see the sun shaped like that. This is the black hole there. That's the black hole in the centre there. Black hole, our Father, our Creator of everything. All the frequencies come out of this black hole. It's like a trumpet. All the frequencies come out of there, and we're all seeing. Life has been created through the sun. The sun. We are all creatures of light. It's the light that makes us visible. Take away the sun, there's nothing visible to our eyes anyway. And then you got your planetary alignments, a certain sequence will give you the lunar eclipses and the solar eclipses. That's what we get. And there's no Earth in there. This is all above Earth. And there's Earth. All these celestial bodies are all up here. They're non-physical. What we see are non-physical. Plus they come from there, but because they come from the non-physical, we're assumed as physical. But we are physical down here. We're the physical. But then again, we're not really physical either. This is just the physical realm. What we see, we think is physical. And that's non-physical. But when it boils down to it, that's not even physical. Nothing created from nothing is basically what it is. You find that deep in ancient knowledge. So imagine that's the black hole. We don't see, all amplified out. So if the sun's in that position, we see the sun out here in the tropics. There it is. if the sun's facing that way, you will have the full moon way out here on the back side of the sun. So the sun has raced ahead of the moon. The sun came out first after the new moon. New moon is the bride's chamber. No, it's full stop there. The sun came out after the new moon. New moon is the bride's chamber. It's called the bride's chamber. It's in the Bible like that. And there's another picture of it here. New moon that spirals all the way out around the pyramid shape. It's the cone shape though, cone. The full moon is opposite the sun and closer to earth, being perigee. In an opposite phasing, so you know earth is negative, this has become a positive. Up there the sun's positive, it's become negative. This is why it's called the hermaphrodite, because it's going male, female. This is male, female. And the earth is the female, the sun is the male in this situation here. Frequencies now. White light total spectrum seen at the top, the sun, because each layer is the light spectrum for us. The sun known as Christ also. The firmament of heaven, the separated layers of atmospheric moisture, gaseous layers, pressure, different gaseous layers and pressure. Waters above and below are in here. Then you have the sea water down here. It's just described in Genesis. Once the water is lifted from the flood, the one-off creation of earth, the flood, the water rises, creates the atmospheric moisture in the air, lowers the sea level, exposes the Ben stone, the scent of earth. Just like the pineal gland story, you'll see in my other videos. Breastplate of the cardinals. We've seen the cardinals of the churches, where all the colours. Check out my obelisk videos about that. But it's about the resonating frequencies. Everything is frequencies, nothing is actually solid. Finding the resonating frequency to you that suits you. This is your enlightenment. So you have to be in that zone, consciously, at peace, at rest, and when the stars align, you could be lucky, you could get lucky. But not many people gain this because they're all too screwed over with the physical world and all the BS. So talking about frequencies, right? All the spheres, it's all music. It's all music. Apollo, the destroyer, that's one side. That's what Apollo means apparently, but that aside, I break it down. Abaddon, which in Egyptian is Abydos. It's all to do with the black hole. Black hole, right? All the sounds and frequencies come from the black hole, and all this is the musical instruments. That's the orchestra right there. So all the planets have their resonating frequencies, or their frequencies, and the moon spirals over the top of them, spirals over them, and plays the music. So you've got to stop and think, well, you know, you've got to, let's say you've got your nylon tension, and you give it a flip, you've got a tone, haven't you? But if you go and cut that in half with the same tension again, you've got two now, and the sound is now gone an octave higher. So you've got two. Change the frequency, right? We'll just hold that in your head for a minute. This is what's happening here. You see, the moon travelling down will come across the planets, come across them, hit the planet, or that zone, that layer in the firmament, because they're all frequency layers. They're all different frequencies. This is how we get the satellite, GPS, whatever. It's all bouncing off the different frequencies, or sending information across the airways. Different frequencies. So what the moon is doing is coming across that layer as it comes down and splitting it. It breaks it splits it. It changes the frequency. So everything is always changing. So you can imagine these are all different frequencies, but once the moon comes across them, it gets changed there, but at the same time it's where the sun is pointing. There's a multitude of frequencies. Everybody has got one. Everything exists on this resonating frequency. And one day it'll hit yours if you are ready. It's all to do with the spheres. So I wanted to put this in a video, and I thought, well, actually, just before I did it, I thought I'll go and find that line in the Plato's dialogue where it's, what did it mention? Gee, it slipped my mind. He's basically going, whoa, you find this, man, whoa. And more words than that, obviously. So I went to look for it. I didn't actually find it, but I've got it somewhere. I could spend some time finding it quite quickly, but I opened the book up in the first page, and I'm going to read it to you. It blew me away. The first page. Now, you remember what I just said about the spheres and the cutting of the moon coming across that one, separating it, changing the frequency. Okay, so here we go here. So you can imagine this is like God talking or someone, the sun, Zeus, whatever. He says, I think I can see my way, he said, to put an end to the disturbance by weakening these people without destroying them. He's talking about frequencies now, resonating frequencies. What I propose to do is to cut them off in half, thus killing two birds with one stone. Now you think of birds, they're flying, because they're all moving, flying together. Now think of the stone. Check out my obelisk videos. The stone's always at the centre here, because that runs the whole thing. Just, oops, 1 second. I'm sure that video's still going. What I propose to do is cut them off all in half, thus killing two birds with one stone. For each one will be only half as strong, and there will be twice as many of them, which will suit us very nicely. They can walk about upright on their two legs, and if, said Zeus, I have any more trouble with them, I shall split them up again, and they'll have to hop about on one. Now you've got to realise the word hop can break down to skip. I shall split them up again, and they'll have to skip about on one. In other words, it's skipping between, skipping these, it comes between them, skipping, hopscotch or whatever. So it's going on them, off them, on, off, on, off, on, off. There we go. So saying, he cut them all in half, just as you or I might chop up sorbed apples for pickling or slice an egg. Now you've got to remember, all these spheres up here we see are just a slice, they're a disc. And you've got the, so you only see in that one slice cut. But you see this sort of thing, don't you? It's a bit hard to explain. You know, you got the cosmic egg back in here. You got the egg to start with. You slice that, and it's got or slicing the egg with a hair. The hair boils down to the moon cycles. Because when you do all the moon cycles over this cosmos here, you get this hair, a bunch of hair. But that's deep too. And as each half was ready, he told Apollo to turn its face. So all the faces are all just a face, they're all turning in here, all facing in here, this way, but projected out here, aren't they? They're always facing back at us. Because you have to know that we are all the centre of the universe. Everything is moving around us. So we're viewing from here out. So even if you come out here, you're going to be looking that way at the sun, you're going to be looking that way at the moon. The face is always facing us. With the half neck that was left, you've got to think of half neck. This is the human body, half a neck. What's behind us? That's the breastplate. That's the other half, isn't it? Nighttime or whatever, of the dual system. Half neck that was left, towards the side that was cut away. Yeah, think of that. Thinking that the sight of such a gash might frighten it into keeping quiet. I've made all sorts of notes here. Planet, night, moon, night. Keeping quiet. That's night time. So the frequencies change at night. Without the sun. Yeah, thinking that the sight of such a gash might frighten it into keeping quiet. Or daytime, one of the two. And then to heal, which is at night, the whole thing up. So Apollo turned their faces